Well, hi everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining. I'm excited to host the leadership series. Today, our guest is Debra Greenwood, the CEO and president for the Center of Family Justice. So, if you have any questions during the Zoom, you can put them in the chat. So, Deborah, can you explain what your career entails as the CEO and president of the Center for Family Justice?
My pleasure too. Absolutely. So, as the CEO of a nonprofit like the Center for Family Justice, it truly does speak to the core of how our agency was founded in 1895, which was then a YWCA. And that was a very long time ago. Some days I feel like I was around in 1895, but um, I have the privilege to work with some of the women that were part of, I apologize for that dinging that were in the forefront back in the probably late 70s and 80s that are still here and very engaged with our organization. And we became an agency that truly really continue to keep the core of supporting women, but now also men, children, and families that have been affected by domestic violence, sexual violence, and we're also a children's advocacy center. So we work with children who have been affected by abuse as well. It's important as a CEO that you have vision to look at what the community needs are, not just kind of keep status quo. I mean, it's important to keep that your programs and services have quality to them, but that you also are looking at raising money to keep the mission moving forward. I've had some wonderful mentors in my career. I've been in a nonprofit sector for 40 plus years. I am that old. But I came from a wonderful organization, the YMCA of the USA, which I'm sure many of you have heard of YMCAs or have participated at Wise, whether it was to learn to swim or before and after school program or summer day camp or sleepaway camp. But lots and lots of experiences that gave me the opportunity to move forward in my career. I got married while I was in college. I was a young bride and got to work at Sacred Heart for about 7 years. And back in that time, most women that were leaving to have their first baby stopped working. That lasted for me for about a year. Education was always very important to me. I graduated from Sacred Heart in my undergrad field, and a lot of it had to do with business. I had no idea that I would end up full-time in nonprofit, but the one thing that I really am grateful for is learning the business aspect of running a nonprofit because it is a business. It's very mission driven, but you also need to understand what it takes to keep the lights on and pay your staff, and also to hire and sometimes, unfortunately, fire, but most of the time, the recruitment part of getting the best and the brightest individuals in your business organization, such as the Center for Family Justice, is really a very important part of being the CEO. And I moved up one rung of a ladder at a time when I first started my career as a young mom, uh, then had three children while I was working and continuing on my education. So when you're a CEO, you never stop learning. You truly want to be sure that you're looking at what the trends are. And what do I mean by that? What are the trends that are happening in the field you're working in? So back in those days, it was very male driven. Leadership was run by male executive directors and CEOs, and the top administrators were primarily men. So it was important for me to really be sure that I was looking at opportunities that would help me advance my career, taking opportunities when they were offered to go and learn about strategic planning. What is your vision? What does that look like? Not just today, not just tomorrow, but what does it look like in the next couple of years? What does the community want? You have to be sure that with your staff, and I never use the word employees because I always call my staff my team, my CFJ family team, because that's very important to understand that it's not just one person that runs the nonprofit, but as a CEO, it's the power of we. That means your volunteer board, that means your community leadership. Most importantly, it means the team that surrounds you to help make those goals that you've set forth as a vision happen. So back in my day, what I mentioned was not a lot of women were also getting back in the field, even though they might have gone to college. It kind of had many women back in my day going to college, but then staying home to raise their families, but then realizing that they went to college, they really can have it all, meaning using their educational background, having good before and after school care, quality summer day camps, sleepaway camps, activities for their children. So this grew out of the 40 years of time that I was involved working in not just YMCA's, but also the current agency I am at.
Speaking of the Center for Family Justice, what type of resources do you offer these men, women, and children who are going through trauma?
So looking at working with victims that have been affected by abuse, just getting people through one piece of it, which was crisis mode, where they're leaving because they're in flight. They're leaving because they're fearful that they are going to be hurt, that their children might be hurt. So they would have to possibly go and live in a safe house, which is a structure at an undisclosed area. And we have them all across the country. And we have 18 of them in the state of Connecticut at an undisclosed area where the individual would go with their children. And primarily, when I first got there, most of the clients living in a safe house were women, but we also realized that sometimes it is the male who might be the victim, and it might be the dad with the children. We also realized today a couple might look very different. Might be two men, two women. Someone might be leaving because it's not just a husband wife. It could just be a father son or a mother daughter or a mother son or a father daughter, called intimate partner violence. So it was important that we were very open to what a victim of abuse looked like, but we knew anyone that was in fear of being hurt or needed to leave, that we are victim advocates, that we believe you. And that's what a victim advocate does. So there was a lot as a CEO you need to know, not just the programmatic end of it. I have the best and the brightest staff at the Center for Family Justice. I am very lucky and fortunate to have very educated but passionate people.
For somebody interested in working in the nonprofit sector, one like yours, what would your advice to that person be?
That you're passionate about working with children and adults and the homeless population. The Connecticut Institute for Refugees and are also another nonprofit in our state that works with those that have come from other countries. So learning language barriers and being able to collaborate with others does not hurt your nonprofit, but you become richer and smarter because you also realize you can't do it all. You can be experts in certain areas, but you don't want to replicate or duplicate what other nonprofits are doing. So there's a lot that you have to know. And it took a couple of years of working in the nonprofit sector for me to go through a lot of training, to learn from others that had much more experience than I did, to understand that the many times the mission will drive the money, but the money can also drive the mission. And that might sound a little harsh at times, but to keep sustainable dollars that keep the lights on, that can pay your staff well, that can provide additional support to your community is exactly what nonprofits do, no matter what their background or what their mission is. The one thing I know is I learn every day from other nonprofit leaders that have missions that are just incredible. And when we work together, we provide a better community outcome for those that are going through, whether it's abuse, whether it's homelessness, whether it's mental health. working with our schools, working with our superintendents, most importantly, working with our chiefs of police and our mayors and first select people so that they understand what your nonprofit does. So they too can advocate, and by advocating, meaning understanding what the mission is of your organization.
For someone who wants to be the CEO of a nonprofit one day, what would you tell them?
CEO is job is not to sit in his or her office. It's truly to be out of that seat, out in the community, having opportunities like I have right now to be able to talk to new leadership like all of you, because you are the future. The youth of our society and our community is where the future and the vision is for agencies like the Center for Family Justice.
Like, how do you balance your work life and your family life? Because obviously you have a job that needs a lot of your attention and you're so devoted to your job. So how do you manage the balance?
My husband's down the hall. I could call him in. See, she fails many times. But I will tell you that I've been very blessed in my life. I married my college sweetheart. We've been married for 52 years, and we have three adult children and six grandchildren, and everybody lives within 10 or 15 minutes of each other. And why I left my career in the YMCA to balance my life was very, 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 very difficult. Um, I had started from rung number one as a young mom with three little girls and learned about helping raise money at my local YMCA for scholarship support because I was taking a lot of classes for my kids from gymnastics to swimming classes. And the executive director was smart because he used to walk around and he said, "Boy, you're here every time I turn around." And one thing led to another. And I was also doing a lot of volunteer work at my one of my daughter's schools while she was in first grade. And as life went on, I grew every rung of the ladder because I was like a sponge, understanding not only as a woman in a very male-dominated non-for-profit back then, but also understanding that I had an educational background and I was given opportunities to take a lot of very advanced graduate type of programs and so forth, from learning about grant writing, fundraising, and one thing led to another till there was a full-time job opening, and my youngest daughter was still in pre-K, and my husband said, like, we'll figure this out. Where, grab the opportunity, apply for it. And I got my first job way back for a grand total of $19,000 a year. And I thought I hit the jackpot because my kids could take free classes. I was getting a full-time job to be a program development person. So back in 2005, we became grandparents to our first grandchild. And by the time he was about 6 weeks old, my daughter kept saying, he was sleeping through the night. She was not like that. She was colicky. She never slept. But she was very athletic and what have you. And she said, I don't know. He's just very happy. I'm like, oh, first time mom, what you really just be happy. He's like that. Well, as time went on, she went to her doctors and said, he doesn't seem to move and kick and do all things newborns do. And after 3.5 months, he was diagnosed with a disease. It's a neuromuscular disease called spinal muscular atrophy, which is the childhood version of ALS. It was October 12th of 2005, but if I were you, I'd put up a Christmas tree if that's what you believe, and he'll never make his first birthday. We were given no hope. So they all went home. My husband looked at the doctor and said, "Thank you," and walked out, and we never looked back because all we could think of is we're going to figure this out. And we did. And we found a specialist in Newark, New Jersey that was founded by Superman, Christopher Reeves, who is well known in Connecticut. He's passed on, but he left a legacy at UNMDJ in Newark, New Jersey for ALS patients and people from all over the world. However, is my grandson is now 20 years old. He graduated from Ward High School. He's brilliant. His eyes answer the questions, so he graduated with high honors. He is on a respirator and life support. He goes to school with his nurse. He took a few classes at Sacred Heart. And at the end of the day, it was that gave me hope. The one thing I learned on balance was every time I get like a runaway train, I think of my grandson Ethan, that if it wasn't for him, I would not be at the Center for Family Justice, where there are families from Bridgeport, from the suburbs, whether it's Fairfield, Trumbull, could be Wilton, it could be Westport, that don't have family support. I know how lucky we are because we all live close. And I've learned that it's very important, some days more than others. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm perfect, 'cause I could tell you that this is a very, very important role that I have at the center. And there's too many people that depend on the free programs and support we have. So when you look at the impact and the inspiration, that's how I balance my life. I'll be honest with you. Some days when I go to work, as crazy as the type of agency is that we run, I find that it does get your mind off of sometimes those personal things because we can wallow in why me and why us. But when you start to meet people that don't have someone that they can reach out to, not have family that believe them, that they've been in a relationship that has been abusive, and not be there for them, I can't even imagine. So that's what the center does. That's what my balance is. Great, I'm grateful and I am appreciative. I have so much gratitude.
So thank you so much for joining and talking to us. And I'm so appreciative of everything that you do and everything that you've shared today.
Well, I appreciate what you do, Hayden, and everyone in your club as well. So please know this, anytime you all would like to come and visit us, or take a tour or volunteer or whatever, we have so much going on and we welcome what you all do.